Hello friends, let us now learn about the examination of the larynx. Examination of the larynx is done mainly by indirect laryngoscopy. So what do you see in indirect laryngoscopy? So what is important is the structures visualized by indirect laryngoscopy is important. So indirect laryngoscopy, we have the list of two lists, okay? Structures which are visible and structures which cannot be seen by indirect laryngoscopy, which are important. So first, which are seen, we will see the structures which are seen by indirect laryngoscopy. First, these structures include, first, the tongue epiglottis can be seen. This is epiglottis. This is epiglottic tubercle. These are the vestibular folds. This is aryepiglottic fold. This is called as ventricle of trachea. This is vocal fold. You have cuneiform cartilage, piriform recess, corniculate cartilage, and posterior wall of larynx are seen. Okay, so these are the things which are seen. So I remembered like this. First, you will see all the larynx structures. You can see aryepiglottic fold, you can see vestibular fold, you can see vocal fold, you can see ventricle of trachea. So larynx can be visualized. All larynx is visualized with tracheal rings are visualized. So these are the tracheal rings. Here you can see the tracheal rings. Larynx with tracheal rings are visualized, followed by oropharynx visualized. Like you can visualize the tongue and the epiglottis. That is, tongue and the epiglottis is visualized. Then you can also visualize the complete laryngopharynx. What are the parts of laryngopharynx? One, we have piriform fossa, piriform recess is visualized. Then we have posterior wall of hypopharynx, it is also visualized, and even post-cricoid region will be visualized. So we have, what are the things which is visualized from the indirect laryngoscopy? Larynx with tracheal rings, which include, in the larynx we can visualize the aryepiglottic fold, we can visualize the vestibular fold, vocal fold, we can visualize the ventricle of the trachea, then you can visualize the tracheal rings. Okay, then in the oropharynx you can visualize the tongue and epiglottis and also epiglottic tubercle. So these are the oropharynx parts, these are the actual larynx parts. This is laryngopharynx. You can visualize the piriform fossa and posterior wall of pharynx. Okay, posterior wall of pharynx can be visualized, and also post-cricoid region can also be visualized. These are the things which you can visualize. Now, what cannot you visualize? Okay, what cannot be visualized? Number one, not visualized, not seen. Not seen are, you have laryngeal surface of epiglottis is not seen. You will see the surface of epiglottis towards the oral surface of epiglottis is seen, but not the laryngeal surface of epiglottis is not seen. Then you cannot see the ventricle of the larynx is not seen. Then you will not see the subglottis, and you will not see the anterior commissure, subglottis, anterior commissure, and also the apex of the piriform fossa is not seen. So what are not seen? Laryngeal surface of epiglottis or infrahyoid epiglottis, ventricle of larynx, subglottis, anterior commissure, and apex of the piriform fossa are not seen. That is laryngeal surface of epiglottis, infrahyoid epiglottis, ventricle of larynx, then anterior commissure, subglottis, and apex of the piriform fossa are not visualized. Then if you see about the movement of cords observed through laryngoscopy, you can observe the movements of the cords. So like, for example, if the person does inspiration, on deep inspiration you can observe the abduction of vocal cords. On deep inspiration you can observe abduction of vocal cords. If the patient says ah, then you can observe adduction of vocal cords. If the patient says e, even this you can see adduction of the vocal cords, and even tension of the vocal cords are visualized. So on inspection, deep inspiration, on deep inspiration you can see the abduction of vocal cords. On saying ah, you can see the adduction of vocal cords. On seeing e, you can see adduction of vocal cords with tension of the vocal cords can be visualized. Next, if you see the next important, next you will do direct laryngoscopy, and on direct laryngoscopy, we will see important points. Okay, so first, what are the indications of, first, what is the position? Direct laryngoscopy is done in a position called as Boyce position. It is called as Boyce position. You do direct laryngoscopy. Boyce position. Boyce position is also called as barking dog position, where you do in direct laryngoscopy. It is Boyce position or barking dog position is where you do direct laryngoscopy. Okay. Now, next, you will have to do, see, the indications are important. Direct laryngoscopy are mainly to see the or examine the hidden areas of larynx. We have seen the hidden areas of larynx. To examine these hidden areas of larynx in the indirect laryngoscope, that is those areas which cannot be seen through indirect laryngoscope, there we see the we use direct laryngoscope. Now, what are the hidden areas? They are the laryngeal surface of epiglottis or infrahyoid epiglottis, ventricle of larynx, subglottis, anterior commissure, and apex of the pyriform fossa. Now, it is also used in infants and in children because they may not cooperate with indirect laryngoscopy. It is used to take the biopsy, and it is also used to perform the microlaryngoscopic surgery. We use this in direct laryngoscopy. So what are the indications? Direct laryngoscopy is used to examine the hidden areas of larynx. It is used in infants and children to take the, it is used in infants and children, and it is also used to take the biopsy and to perform a microlaryngoscopic surgery. Then what about the contraindications? Contraindications are, it should not be used if there is cervical spine injury, because the position of this is barking dog position. So cervical spine injury is present, then you should not do this direct laryngoscopy. Next, if there is aneurysm of arch of aorta, if there is aneurysm of arch of aorta, this might get ruptured because of the pressure or any reason. Okay, so you should not do it. And if there is recent cardiac illness, you should not do this. Recent cardiac illness should not be, you should not do this direct laryngoscopy. And if the patient has stridor, you should not do. So it is contraindicated in cases of cervical spinal injury, aneurysm of aorta, then recent cardiac illness and stridor. It is contraindicated. It is contraindicated in cervical spine injury, aneurysm of arch of aorta, recent cardiac illness and stridor. Now, what about these? In all these, what will you do then? In all these, you will actually do something called as transnasal flexible laryngoscopy is done. In all these, transnasal flexible laryngoscopy is done. Even if there is voice disorders also, you do this transnasal flexible laryngoscopy is done. Then the next important thing is about the microlaryngoscopy. So what do you see in microlaryngoscopy? In this is nothing but the combination of laryngoscopy with an operating microscope. If you do laryngoscopy with an operating microscope, then we call it as microlaryngoscopy. Why is it done? It is mainly done for the precision surgeries on the vocal cord. We do this microlaryngoscopy. It is done for precision surgeries on vocal cord. It is also done for focal length. For measuring the focal length for microscope of 400 nanometers also you do. Sorry. Why is microlaryngoscopy done? It is a combination of laryngoscope and operating microscope. It is mainly done for precision surgery. The focal length of the lens used in microlaryngoscopy is 400 nanometers. Thank you.